Can get more on this. Ross Feingold is a political analyst and the former Asia chairman of Republicans Abroad. Many thanks for speaking to us, Ross, on TRT World. Our correspondent Mary there talking a little bit about George H.W. Bush's significant experience in foreign affairs, as well as his single term as president. He was ambassador to the UN, U.S. envoy to China, director of the Central Intelligence, vice president. What do you think, in terms of foreign policy, his legacy will be?
He's going to be largely remembered as a statesman, somebody who not only represented the interests of the United States, whether as UN ambassador, envoy to China, CIA director, vice president with his many overseas trips supporting President Reagan, but as president as well. And then subsequently in his time after his presidency, the many years that he continued to travel the world, he continued to participate in things such as international efforts after the 2004 tsunami in Southeast Asia to provide aid to victims. So around the world, it's largely going to be a positive image of somebody who not only represented the interests of the U.S., but also try to make the world a better place.
Some would say that his role internationally came at the expense of him neglecting domestic affairs, which was one of the reasons why he ended up only serving one term. He often talked about his regret, I guess, on that. What would you say about that?
Well, it wasn't his choice that there were such monumental international events during his presidency, such as the fall of communism, the Tiananmen incident in China, the Gulf War, obviously. These did take a lot of time, and it was also in the interest of protecting the national security of the United States that he was required to be highly engaged in these monumental events. And Bill Clinton and his team in the 1992 presidential election were very effective in arguing that this election will be about the economy. And they had a very simple message that resonated that year with American voters. But in the years since his presidency, there's been a bit of a reassessment, and people also look at his domestic policy initiatives as also well-intentioned. And history is going to be very kind to President Bush, both domestically as well as internationally.
He was, of course, a patriarch of a political dynasty. What does that tell you about the man he was?
Well, when people think of George H.W. Bush, one of the words that often comes up is service. Service to the community, to the public, to the country. And that wasn't only President Bush himself, but he had relatives in an older generation of the Bush family who served in government. Obviously, his son became president. Another son was a governor who tried to become president. There are now younger Bushes who are also engaged in public service. Naturally, this does attract some criticism. In our political system in the United States, we obviously don't have royalty, and sometimes people are a little concerned when subsequent generations of the same family try to engage in politics and run for office. But that doesn't detract at all from the accomplishments of George H.W. Bush, how people feel about subsequent generations of the Bush family entering politics.
Ross Feingold, political analyst and former Asia chairman of Republicans Abroad. Many thanks for speaking to us.